Hey guys, it's Sarah Upsidedown here. Got my goofy goggles on today because whenever you're down, sometimes you got to cheer yourself up, and wearing these makes me feel better. So, anyway, if you haven't been to my channel before, I do content for autism, ADHD, um, mental health. Gosh, I don't know. I've like added so many things on that I can't even remember. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here and do a quick update. I do these every so often. I'm like, there's hair touching my nose. I do these every so often whenever I'm struggling with some of my chronic illnesses. I'm not able to get on here as soon as I would like, or I haven't, planned it enough to where, I'm able to do that, and I'm trying to on a regular basis, but some health things keep coming up. I've been seeing a lot of doctors like neurologists and stuff like that to try to figure out some of the stuff that's going on with me. And I'm sure some of the viewers that are on here that have Asperger's, autism, um, and things like that kind of know a little bit about what chronic illnesses that you can have that are sadly a lot of the times connected to us, and that are very rare to maybe most of the world, but not in the autism community. Um, so I have been going through trying to get that figured out. And to be honest, I think that I started learning more about my body and illnesses that I've probably had since childhood. Um, Probably around the same time as I first heard about Asperger's. And not too long after that, I was diagnosed with that as well. Um, hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming on here. If y'all ever wonder, like if y'all watch this not live, I did this live, and I'm not waving at myself and just saying this for no reason. But I also don't want to call anybody's names out if they don't want to be, called out. So anyway, I have a few different things that I'm going to be changing on the channel, and thanks to the Life Autistic. If you haven't seen his channel, go check it out. He has sort of inspired me a little bit lately because I've been wanting to put more stuff on how to help people with health issues, especially linked to, the autism, ASD, Asperger's, whatever spectrum that can help with certain foods and um, things like that. Sorry, that's my pick my son up alarm that I set early so that I make it on time. Um, I've found out that I thought I was going to I missed setting an alarm for something today, and it was for my therapist, which is also important in your not just mental health, but your physical health, especially if you are on the spectrum. Then it's good to have therapy in multiple areas, physical therapy, possibly if you're struggling with some of the stuff that I have, or mental health and cognitive therapy. So you just need all the therapies. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting more and more therapies as I age, and I'm only 30, so this isn't really looking super great. Except for my therapy really helps me, and I'm grateful to have my therapist who understands and validates some of the health things that I'm going through. That's why I'm wearing these glasses lately. I've been super, whenever I start to have flare ups and things, I get way more sensitive to light and sound and everything. And all of a sudden, just being in my own home is very miserable. I say that in a joking way, but it's sort of the truth. Because I feel like being in my little corner in my room and have none of that going on. Because between the mixture of sensory processing issues, and also having some of these health conditions that I'm learning about, it intensifies So if you have MS and fibromyalgia and you're also autistic, and then you also maybe have, these other issues, then the lights and sound and all those problems when you're having flare-ups, when the weather is changing and all that can intensify. And so I'm sort of all over the place. So, y'all have to excuse me. I have been like deep research, I got note cards everywhere, because I started going to the neurologist and was prescribed some medication that I feel like is toxic for my body. And so I had to quit immediately. And I did say that I was allergic or extremely sensitive to a lot of medications. I've told doctors this a good amount of times and it hasn't been looked into. So, anywho, the neurologist thinks it's fibromyalgia, which I had deeply researched already for the past 2.5 years, trying to figure out back and forth between that or MS, like what was going on more in my body. And I hate it because, it's either neither of those, and possible mast cell issues, or one or the other and mast cell issues. So, if this year hasn't been enough. I do think that nobody should have to go through a lot of this stuff, but I think I've gained the tools to be able to go through it and not, be completely miserable. So, or get frustrated with how much food I can't eat and things like that. But I think some of the reasons why it can be frustrating is because I'm trying to have this YouTube channel and stay consistent, but unfortunately my body cannot stay consistent, and then I kind of look like I'm not consistent, or I don't have a timer for literally every activity that I have each week, and so I forget what day it is. Which definitely goes along with being an Aspie, but at the same time, when you have brain fog and some of these conditions, which some of you on here that may not be autistic or whatever, or don't want to wear shiny goggles on your head because you're just trying to feel better, may still struggle with some of those things, or may have chronic illnesses. And I'm sure that y'all can relate with the being dependable thing. And I don't like to not be dependable. But the only person that I know that I can be dependable for right now is mainly myself. And for someone who's always done stuff for others, that's a really hard thing to do, especially when you have children. So, I do these updates every so often, and in my head, I feel like they're probably just, they're thinking I'm making excuses or whatever. No, I'm autistic and I struggle with chronic illnesses and it sucks, and I'm just trying to remember what day it is sometimes. And if you have some of these same things, you're probably not thinking that, because you're like, yeah, that's probably why I'm not even feel like I can make a YouTube channel, because I don't want to start something. And sometimes for us, Aspies on the spectrum and stuff like that, like starting stuff is one of the hardest things, and getting past that makes it better. But starting it and the anxieties and stuff that come with it, it's hard. So maybe that's why some more people on the spectrum with chronic illnesses, they don't want to not be on for 2 weeks at a time like me, and then their whole channel kind of fall or whatever, and they can't keep up with it. And man, it's just stressful talking about. Apparently I'm not supposed to get stressed. Like, what am I supposed to move out into the woods in a cabin near the mountains and just not be around people? Okay, so that is like seriously my dream, except for I'd probably be in Japan or something instead. But I've always had the dream of moving out in a triangle shaped cabin. It has to be a triangle. Because I liked certain shapes more than others. You can't get more autistic than that. Come on. How did people not pick this up? I have all these things that are just really peculiar. But yes, even though that would be a dream, that's really unrealistic for my life since I'm a mom of two amusing, yes, amusing actually is the word probably, children who are also on the spectrum, who also have stomach issues and different things like that I have to be able to take care of. So I won't apologize necessarily because I feel bad. I want to apologize because I do this channel to help other people. But just like the Life Autistic Hunter says, is that he's just a dad. He's just a dad and he's autistic. And I'm just, I'm a lot of things in my head, in my little imagination. Oh, Glitch wants to join us today. But in reality, I'm just a mom that wants to be able to help other people that go through finding out they're autistic, which I also did basically alone, who have chronic illnesses that they've had since childhood that they pretty much had to figure out on their own through extensive research. I'm not the only one. I come across another woman that was diagnosed, as fibromyalgia for 20 years. And I've just been talking to her and another one of my friend Carol that was also misdiagnosed with some of these things, and they're both on the spectrum. They're both autistic, and I don't know if they went through these things completely alone, but sometimes even if there's just one person, it helps. But I made my channel so that people don't have to do that, because honestly, I'm not someone who gets depressed easily, and with the crap I've been through this year and just my life in general, you'd be surprised. I don't know. I'm stuttering. But I just know that there are things that I want to do in my life and that I'm trying to live for. And so I fight for that. And I think I sometimes get lost in the fight and the solution because of being an Aspie, that I forget that I'm an actual person that has some of these health issues, and that I'm not just a science experiment to my own self. I mean, other people are a science experiment to me too, because like trying to figure out people is very confusing sometimes. But then when you have these things going on in your body, you want to be able to figure them out. And so I am a mom. I'm a mom who's autistic with children who are on the spectrum. And I just have to work hard every day to try to make up time for myself that I didn't have for many years of going through, neglect from a lot of those who were around me or that didn't know how to help or weren't being helped. So I'm trying to change that in my life. And I hope that people that come to my channel will be able to see that there's more than one way out of these situations, and that we can be depressed and sad in the moment. But as Jim Carrey said, depressed, there's a definition for that, and it's deep rest. So I took a Benadryl this morning and I slept the entire day, basically. I even missed my son's lunch, which I do feel bad about. But because of going through some of the difficulties that I have right now, I had to choose what was more important. And sometimes that is you, but there's balance in that. And he's going to be able to understand, But if you struggle with some of these things, I'm trying to say this without a shaky voice because it's honestly depressing. Just cut yourself some slack, because I bust my butt every day trying to be the best parent, wife, or friend. And I actually literally bust my butt to fight in karate so that I can balance out the emotional and physical turmoil that comes with sometimes with having these chronic illnesses, and honestly, yeah, with being autistic because of sensory processing disorder and other sensitivities. And then somehow I'm hyposensitive enough, even with all that, to get tattoos and not feel as much physically in tattoos and in karate. Like, there's not always things that, and this is coming from someone who tries to, figure out logical explanations of things. There's not always stuff on papers. So I just want to say, if you're struggling with something like this, spectrum or not, neurotypical or neurodiverse, the tip that I have from the other girl that I watched her video about some of the issues that she had and just going through doctors and people not, whatever. I mean, it could have taken her life. It says she says, trust yourself above all else. And that doesn't mean like, if you believe in God, don't trust yourself before God or whatever you want to say with that. It just means trust yourself, especially going through these medical things, because your body is going to tell you what's going on with that. So I want to be bringing more solutions to the channel for health, for people on the spectrum. Y'all have seen a couple of my recipes. I'm going to be talking about my specific illnesses or and how I've kind of been able to survive that as best as I can. I'm going to just basically bring any and all tools, including, the some of the MBTI stuff that I've learned that I like to info dump, and how it's helped me to see my own mind and how my brain works. I feel like, I guess, because I feel things. I'm always thinking, I don't know. It's conflicting. But I think that, we're so solution minded as far as most autistic individuals. And that doesn't mean we're all like high IQ geniuses, which is also another thing on a piece of paper. Like, what all are they actually checking for? And I'm not talking about just the Aspergers or that type of test. I'll go into that another day. But, I lost my train of thought there. It happens. But yeah, just being able to bring more solutions. Oh, there we go. Solutions. Yep. If we're able to solve complex problems, and we can do that with machines, with computers, those are basically the same thing, whatever, with my own machine brain, then there's possible ways that we can do that for people with our research skills. Like, sign me up if someone wants to hire me from home to do any type of research thing for any medical stuff. Because if I haven't looked it up so far, and I say this without as much pride as possible, then because it's been a lot, you do whatever years trying to figure out how to stay alive and healthily. You find and, you separate things to the side that don't apply to you, but maybe help someone else if they bring up something that relates to them. And I'm into that type of science. You solve the solutions, you find, what needs to be put together. You look up the science, you connect all those things, and then the step continues is where you show people and help people with what you've learned so that someone else can hopefully find healing. And if they can't find the doctors, or they're not able to get the help because of medical stuff, then they may have some options that they can at least try. And am I a licensed psychologist or scientist or any of those things? No, I learn all on my own home with my computer, and then I just sound really smart thanks to Google. but I do pack in a ridiculous amount of information, like an encyclopedia that I can spill out, and possibly too much at times. That also is what is probably my channel is for. Yeah, because I'm really horrible about verbalizing things. It's not just about if I can talk or not. It's also being able to get the thoughts out and make sense. And some people might follow along. If that's you, then great. You probably are an NTP type or a whatever on the MBTI thing, or just an EP or IP in general, and maybe can follow along with my wonky self. So that's what's going to be going on the Upsidedown channel. If you picked up any of that and it makes sense to you, then that's fantastic. I hope that you keep coming back, and I'm going to get off here and go pick up my child. Thank you all for coming, and have a good day.